our Wellness Wednesday. Our health experts are here to answer your specific health and wellness questions. So please welcome back today Dr. Daniel Fossmeyer from Overlake Medical Center, Tracy Boss from Premera Blue Cross, Dr. Peter Eby from Virginia Mason, and Dr. Christina Brecht from Aesthetic Rejuvenation. Welcome back, all of you. Trying to figure out, can you imagine how much spending on medical education we have sitting here? This is a lot. Dr. Fossmeyer, talking about migraines, what are some of the lifestyle preventions that we can undertake to try to slow down migraines?
To make the brain less excitable, yes. So mostly what I've seen, I've learned from patients. So exercise, aerobic exercise, it is quite a bit. You have to exercise 5 days a week is the break point when migraine frequency decreases. 30-minute, 40-minute aerobic exercise.
Okay, what's your plan B then? Because that's...
Plan B, change of diet.
Okay.
So patients have come to me and say, I'm so much better. Well, what did you do? Well, I changed my diet. For example, a gluten-free diet patient recently had headache went away. Somebody went on a ketogenic diet and bang, headache went away, lost 40 some odd pounds. The Pro Club has this 20/20 program. Also another patient that went there, headache went away. So
now, are these different for different people?
Yes. So it's impossible for me to predict who can I tell this is what you should do. I can only facilitate or suggest that this is what I've seen other patients do, and you should try this. So I try my strategies of preventative medications, abortive therapies, but also the lifestyle changes, the exercise, and also getting the right amount of sleep every night. So migraine brain is irritable. It doesn't like change. So that's why you have to sleep the same amount every night. If you sleep in on the weekend, you'll wake up with a migraine sometimes.
Interesting.
So same amount of sleep every night.
But good to know.
Yes.
And just one other question, the ER visit. If things just get out of control, you know, nausea, the whole bit, you can't help yourself, you can't stop it, and you end up in the ER, what's the approach? The
approach is when you come in there, you have to be able to tell the ER physician, this is my typical migraine, or this is not my usual migraine headache. Because the emergency room physician is worried that they're going to miss something bad, like a subarachnoid hemorrhage or a tumor. So they're going to do a lot of tests that may not be necessary if this is your typical migraine. So the thing you have to say to the ER physician, this is my usual migraine, this isn't different. So they can then say, okay, we're not going to do a lumbar puncture or a CAT scan. We're going to be able to treat you with intravenous medications that'll decrease the inflammation and shut off the pain itself and get rid of the nausea. So that's what you have to do.
Very good to know. If you can talk, you need to tell them that. Tracy, Medicare. So let's say one spouse is turning 65, they're on Medicare, the other one is still working. What are your sets of choices that you need to make?
I think it's really important. It happens all the time. It's an important moment to evaluate what options you have if you remain on your spouse's plan, and then compare that directly to what is available to you for Medicare. So there are a number of options, and probably the best thing to do is sit down with someone across the table and talk through those things and evaluate them side by side.
And somebody to sit down with, like someone from your office, to
We'd
sit
be
down
happy
and
to
go
do
over
that. You bet.
Because that seems like that would be really confusing. If you are traveling overseas, like I always get an SOS policy or something when I'm traveling on nonprofit trips overseas, because they're generally places where I'm not going to get, you know, care right away. If you're just going on vacation and you have Medicare, what do you need to know about its application overseas?
Yeah, you want to be really thoughtful about it's covered for urgent and emergent care. So Premera's policy will absolutely cover you if you trip and fall and break a knee or break a hip or have something urgent happen to you. It isn't for routine care. So if you're going to be away for an extended period of time, you want to think about alternate plans for that, but emergencies are certainly covered.
And if you like your doctor, how do you figure out if that person is in your network for whatever plan you choose?
So the best way to do that is to go to the company site specifically. So for Premera, premera.com/MA is a great place to evaluate and ensure that all of your doctors are in the network that you want to see, and same thing with our competitors.
Can you do it the other way around? Just call your doctor and say, what plans do you accept?
Absolutely. Yes.
So either way. Okay. Dr. Eby, mammograms. Okay. Discomfort. You said you hear about that all the time. So let's talk about why this happens.
Well, sure. Obviously, mammograms, we do them for an important reason. We don't want them to be painful. That's not our goal. Our goal is to get great images so that we have the best chance of detecting a small cancer. And compression is part of that. So compression does a couple of things. It keeps the breast very still so that we can get a very sharp image. It also decreases the radiation dose. So when the breast is thinner, there's less radiation absorbed. So compression is a necessary part of the mammogram. Those are the reasons why we do it.
Got it.
And we're working on making it more comfortable.
I know. Just for you men who don't know, there are two giant flat things that compress, as Dr. Eby has said, and then they reach down and turn a knob to make sure it's as tight as possible, and then they say don't move. And I always think, how could I possibly move under these circumstances? But yes, I'm glad you're getting a really good image.
You know, we've got some new technology where patients are actually being able to control a little bit of that compression themselves because, of course, they know how it feels.
Yes.
So
Oh, I would like that.
Yeah, come visit.
I would like that. I also went to a mammogram once where they had smelling salts taped to the machine. I think that's a bad idea. Please don't tell me beforehand I'm going to need smelling salts. I'm way too suggestible on that. Okay, Dr. Brecht, what happens if you do this sculpting and you remove fat, but then you gain weight? Can you gain that fat back?
Well, when you do liposuction, you are removing those fat cells permanently.
So there's a finite number of fat cells, is
There
that
is
correct?
a finite number, but there are still fat cells there in those areas that could grow, but proportionally less in those problem areas. So when you gain weight, you'll gain weight proportionally less in those problem areas. But optimally, like we were talking about earlier, you know, diet and exercise should be a part of our lifestyle. That's what makes us even better.
All you doctors say that. There's
I
no
know.
getting away from it. Every single one of you. You use stem cells in some way. What is that?
I love stem cell. This is a newer evolving technology. So our own fat has stem cells in it, and we're finding it's unfolding the potential and power behind our own stem cells. It's about 100 times more concentrated than bone marrow, which has been safe and used for cancer patients for decades. But we're using it now intravenously to treat massive inflammatory conditions, chronic conditions, in neurologic disorders, places that conventional medicine hasn't taken us. So it's very exciting technology. And so I do it in my clinic as well under an IRB study, and the results are pretty astounding.
Okay, and we have less than 1 minute, but I wanted to ask you quickly about fat transfer.
Yes.
What does that mean, really?
Fat transfer is basically taking your own fat and putting it somewhere else. So it is like a little mini fat transfer. I can do it to the face, to the breast, to the buttocks, to the tops of the hands, and it's just a nice natural way to sculpt.
That sounds like magic, doesn't it? That's, who wouldn't want this? All right, thank you all very much. Appreciate your help today. We'll have more New Day right after this quick break.